Hi guys, Drew here. Today I'm going to continue with the studio tour. I think it'll take 2 more videos after this one to get through the whole thing. But today we'll focus on this shelf over here with the herbs and stuff and my work table where I make a lot of my product. First, let's look at the shelving on the wall. So as you see up there, I have a bunch of wisteria and some graveyard dirt, a candle, little pot, all kinds of stuff on the wall. That's something I just got for my birthday. A friend of mine did. She's an artist, and that's my natal chart. The walls are covered. I'm one of those cluttered collector kind of people. So let's look at the herbs. Now, I want to remind you, I've said this before, but these herbs here are my herbs, or they are the herbs that my husband and I share and have in common. He has his own cabinet. He keeps his own herbs that I don't use at all in there. But the ones that we share, we have in here, or the ones that I primarily use are in here. And yes, it's a lot, but that's 2 people for their practice. And also, we make all of our products that use herbs from our herbs. So yes, we have a lot of herbs, but we use a lot of herbs. I'm not going to name them all because we don't want to be here all day. Dittany of Crete here. Purple basil that I grow in the spring and summer. Hi, John. Got some uva ursa here. Of course, we have to have mandrake. Rosemary that we grow out front. Low John. Here's some applewood. It used to live on my conjuring cabinet, but now it's over here. Tonka beans, one of my all-time favorite. They smell so good. Down here on this side is all flowers. So, like, here's some dandelion heads. There's dandelion leaves back there. This is just a flower medley. Most of the flowers in here I couldn't identify if I wanted to. But the other ones, I know what they are and I know their properties. Rose underneath is another thing of rose. These are cherry blossoms. We have a Japanese cherry blossom tree. Here's daisy. I get daisies all the time. It's one of my absolute favorites. These are tulips. Got wisteria, of course, because we grow wisteria. Lavender. What witch doesn't have lavender? We grow that as well. Hydrangea. I have a hydrangea bush. These are little jasmine flowers in here. I've got some hibiscus in here somewhere. My terracotta. I've got my oranges, limes, lemons, grapefruits. Pumpkin and pumpkin seeds. I would say if you are someone who works with herbs, grows herbs, or collects your own ingredients, that investing in a dehydrator is a really good idea. I was actually gifted one, so I didn't have to pay for it. So if you can get one through that, that's even better. But it has helped me immensely, particularly with drying certain things. I mean, you could use salt and you could use your oven, but the dehydrator is just so easy. Mistletoe. I've got my raw cotton here. All kinds of salt, regular rock salt, sage. I got my pink Himalaya salt. This is like ground up, crunched up small pieces, and I've got big chunks back here. Can't really see the bottom shelf too good. Back here are a lot of my husband's hand-molded candles. This is the Hi John candle, his manifestation candle. Here's one of the Evil Eye candles that he makes. A whole bunch of his candles. They're all in our Etsy shop. This here, he's got, just like in my cabinet, I keep my herb blends for my product. He also does the same thing. He has his little herb blends made up in this next little thing. Then we have the chakra salts that I make. There's one for each chakra point. Okay, over here on the side of my cabinet, I keep my beeswax. down here. This is just, it's got like raffia and all kinds of stuff in it. My large tripod for filming videos. I'm using my little one for this video. And my towels. This one is a witchy Halloween towel, but just regular towels because you always need to clean up. So this is my work table as it looks on a daily basis. When I'm actually working on it, it looks different. I take the Book of Stones and the mortar and pestle down so that I have room to do what I'm doing. Sorry, the sun is kind of messing with the image. So to me, this is my beeswax cauldron. Yes, it's a crock pot, an old one, but that's where my beeswax goes, and that's where I melt it. Now, I plug it in, turn it on high, melt down the beeswax. The temperature is too hot in there to work with immediately, so I transfer it over here. I have this little candle plate and my little copper pot here. It's just not fully copper, and I put whatever I need to make the candle, the altar charms, or whatever it is I'm working on in that little pot. Let it sit for a few minutes to cool, bring the temperature down to a workable temperature. And if I'm going to add any pigment or anything like that in, I'll do that then. And then move it to my plate where I work. So this is the Big Book of Stones. It's my second copy of this particular book. I have many other books on stones as well, but this is my favorite, my go-to. Back here, I've got this little, what I call my working cauldron. I have several cauldrons and several mortar and pestles, and they're used for different purposes. I use this kind of like a mixing bowl for small spells, but it's also storage. As you can see, I've got my wood wicks here. Oh, that's not coming in good. Well, wooden wicks and extra candles and some Palo Santo. Here we have a new product. We're making these Venus of Willendorf beeswax candles. I've only got the one right now. It's a learning process working with, we made our own silicone molds, and working with that is a learning curve. This is our wick. You can get that at Michael's. We always have a ton of wick on hand because we both make candles. Just a little herb black candle. These are my working knives. I don't have an athame. I have an athame, but I don't use it. It's just, it was a gift, and it sits on my shaman ancestor altar. These are more like a bowline, I guess, but I use them whenever I'm working with product or on spellcraft. And they're just little knives. It's not focusing the greatest, but the other one's a little bit bigger. And they have their cute little dragony. You make me think of like a European version of a dragon, maybe. Sea monster, something of that nature. And these are my working spoons. They are actual measuring spoons, but I use them whenever I'm crafting, making product, or just spellcraft in general. Of course, it's tablespoon down to half teaspoon. My moon shells here, I do seashell magic. I'll be doing videos about that at some point. There's a beeswax candle. This is my recipe card holder where I keep all my recipes for my products, or not even just my products, just anything that I make that I need to write down. Here's the Venus that we made the mold out of. These are my tools for working with beeswax. This is the ladle I use to scoop the beeswax out of the cauldron into the little copper pot. And this is Big Mama. She is my big mortar and pestle. I love her. She was a gift from a dear friend. I use her constantly. I mainly use her for herbs and resins and whatnot. And I have a very small mortar and pestle that I use for stones. But we're getting ready to order me another big one. It won't look exactly like this. I'm getting a Mexican style one this time, but for stones, because it's so much easier working with this big pestle than this big mortar. This drawer has rubber bands for working with our candle molds. We have a box cutter in here, also something for working with candles, and lots of torch lights because, you know, every witch needs torch lights. Here we have these mixing bowls are porcelain. They were my mother's. I only use these for crafting. I do not use them for cooking. And I have all these little sieves, and you know, this is these tools here are mainly for when I make bath bombs, but I use the bowls for many things. These plates are for making candles, and yeah, look, you can see. We hand mold our candles, and so we use paper plates and wax paper to do so. This is a box I made for my husband years and years ago for our anniversary or something, for him to keep all our little love notes and stuff in. But when he decided he didn't need it anymore, I reclaimed it. So here's stuff for making my altar charms. Also, I use this when I do, whenever I make my loaded candles. And these are all dyes, wax dye for candles. Yeah, keep all that stuff organized and together. Makes my life easy. These are my husband's candle cauldrons. He uses little ones, and he makes his candles in the living room. I make mine in here. And these are all my candles. These are the candles that I use when I make my loaded candles, my Esfe candles, my release candles, the candles that come in the load kits. These are very high quality. They have a fragrance. They've been Reiki charged. I choose them. I wish they were cheaper, then I could charge less too, but they're expensive. They're pretty expensive. And I choose them because they are so easy to work with when it comes to loading. And I want to provide a high quality product too. So, and I have, there's dark pink, there's brown, there's light pink, white, orange and yellow, purple, red, there's black in there, there's, I don't even know, so many, every color you can think of. Okay, over here, these are just candles for me. These are the candles, I get these at Dollar Tree, and these are the ones that I like to, they're good for candle carving, but I like to use the tissue paper technique and put a picture on them. This is, I use my candles as well for my own spellcraft, so this is one that's in progress. It's been used at different rituals and what have you. I have this round one. Not really sure what I'm gonna do with it yet. I just love Dollar Tree. You can get so many good things. This is something, this is something that was got for my son years and years ago. He actually bought it with his own money, and they're little glass pieces, little chips that he had got at Michael's, but he never used them for anything. So they ended up back with me, and I use them in like witch jars and protection spells and stuff like that because it's chunks of glass. More candles that are just for my own personal use. I can load them, use them in spellcraft, what have you. Here's some more. This is my grapeseed oil. It's a big honking thing, but I use oil a lot. We make many oils for our own personal use and for our shop. And I also use it for personal use, for things like making body scrubs, stuff like that. Okay, and here's the scary part. All right, this is, I use this to dry my bath bombs when I make bath bombs. You set them in there. This is cool. Let me get a piece so I can show you. I love beeswax. I use beeswax to make my candles and for other purposes. I make my own body cream. I use it in that. My husband and I have actually been toying with the idea of, in a few years when the trees are bigger, having a beehive, having a little colony of our own in our yard. But this is material. Like, I went to Walmart and I bought some material. And then I put a bunch of beeswax in the bottom of this tray, which you can still see it, and put it in the oven till it melted. And then I took the material and dipped it into the beeswax. So this is totally coated in beeswax. You can bend it and shape it. The original purpose for this is like an antibacterial sandwich bag. Like you could put snacks and stuff in it. There's ways to fold them into envelopes that'll hold sandwiches and treats and what have you. But it smells amazing. It smells like beeswax. It's pretty. I honestly haven't figured out what I'm gonna do with them. I have a ton of these, but I love them. So that's what that's for. I make beeswax cloth. I don't even know what it's called. My husband bought this for me for some reason. I have never used it. I don't know. He's funny. These are more candles that are just for me to do whatever with. This one is faded and I'll probably load it or something. I don't know what I was going to do with that. That's a perfectly good one for product. This is, a heart. I used to make love loads and I used to make peace loads with these birds. I don't know if I'll ever do it again or not. I don't know. I've got so many things going on. It's not even funny. And then again, Dollar Tree candles, big candles. One of, purple, pink, blue, and green. This is our backstock of yarrow. We got a ton of that. Here's my heat gun. I use this when I wrap product. I heat wrap our bath bombs. I heat wrap our loaded candles. That Venus of Willendorf candle up there will be heat wrapped. Little white candles, cheap dollar store candles. Me and my friends typically use for loading when we get together, stuff like that. This is extra wax I keep for the loading process. Here's some baking soda for bombs. And then I have lots of plaster of Paris back here. Last but not least, on the side we have this pocket. It holds an iron and a hair dryer and a bunch of glue and all kinds of mess. Things I use when working on my products. So yeah, that's the next leg of the studio tour. I have so much junk, it's not even funny, but I just wanted to share because I do enjoy seeing everybody else's junk. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing mine. Thanks for checking out my channel, guys, and if you're into it, leave a like. And until next time, much love and gratitude.